Look, thank you all for staying till the graveyard shift here. I'm reminded of a presentation that I gave about 4 years ago at a sub-conference at PDAC in Canada. And there was Alex Dorsch from Chalice presented before me. I followed up and presented for De Grey Mining after that. There was 3 people in the room, one of them was asleep. 6 months later, of course, Chalice has its massive Julimar discovery. We have our massive Hemi discovery at De Grey. The point being that sometimes you stay late, there might be some gems, and hopefully we can show you one of those gems. Now, firstly, none of you have ever seen a drill rig. I keep getting annoyed. We've got a drill rig there on the front cover. NIMY Resources. NIMY is a bridge in Belgium. It was the site of the first battle in World War I. And my colleague Luke Hampson, who's really the one who's put all this together, he had a great uncle or thereabouts who was killed at that bridge and won one of the first VCs in World War I. And I just think that's a cool story. It's not a bad reason for a name. It's as good a reason as any. NIMY, of course, does have NI in it, and we are a nickel explorer. So that's just a little bit of background about the name. And in this pace, I won't get through the 10 minutes by any stretch. But anyway. So look, what has attracted me to it? I mean, I've been very fortunate with De Grey Mining. De Grey had a project up in the Pilbara Craton, and everyone said there's no gold there, and we proved that there was. The story is similar. We've got a large project area in the Yilgarn Craton. There's a lot of potential in the Yilgarn Craton still to be found, and it's home to some of the world's greatest gold production, nickel production, and so it goes. But there's still a lot of stuff undercover, and when we started here, I mean, Luke's been at it for 6 years. I've been with Luke for probably 3 now on it. So that, you know, it was shown in the WA maps at the mines department as granites. We've uncovered that it's got greenstone belt, it's got mafic, ultramafic sequences. It's got the same rocks as what you're finding out in Kalgoorlie, Kambolda, etc. It's the same age rocks that's in the Craton. There's going to be something in this area, and we've got a very large tenement package. At the moment, through recent exploration, we have identified that we're very fertile for nickel sulfides. The grades aren't where we want them to be yet, but you know, we're getting large intersections, 450 metres, as an example, at 0.15% nickel. The 0.15%, yes, that's not becoming economic, but it is a lot of background to the area, and what our job is to get to that concentration of nickel. So an experienced leadership team, I guess that includes myself, but Luke, one of the things that attracted me to the company too is that Luke has been out on the ground for 6 years, getting his hands dirty. He's not somebody who's just living in West Perth and picked up some tenements and doing the work from West Perth, and that I always appreciate that. And our geologist's a gentleman by the name of Fergus Jockle. He and I worked together 25 years ago, and that becomes relevant with one of the slides later on. He's a very experienced geologist of probably 40 plus years standing. So our project, if you look at the map on the right, you can see the sort of Kalgoorlie, Coolgardie, Norseman trend all the way up to Leinster. There's nickel projects throughout there. There's obviously gold throughout there. We look at it to the west of that, and you can see Ravensthorpe to the south, into Forrestania, which is not identified, Southern Cross. Our area is that circle, and it goes all the way up to you and me, which has been a gold mine. So we're on the same geological structure, and to us it looks as though it parallels that Norseman to Leinster structure, which has been one of the great nickel producers in the world. We have, as you know, Forrestania is obviously a very significant nickel mine to the south of us. So we're in the right area, pardon me, with yes, I've gone through most of that, but we've got an 80 kilometre prospective tenure. It's not easy when you're in a greenfields area. There's a lot of work to cover, so we do a lot of soil sampling, we do a lot of magnetic work, a lot of moving loop, and we're trying to identify the target areas, and we are gradually getting there, and we are gradually getting improving nickel values as we drill. We have a drilling program on at the moment. So, okay, so over 12,000, we've drilled over 12,000 metres. I think we're at 13,000 metres actually at the moment. So we talk about nickel, lithium and rare earth prospects. We are focused on nickel. But you know, if you're coming across a rare earth prospect, if you're coming across a lithium prospect in the current market, you're doing your shareholders a disservice by not looking at it. In this area too, if it's the same rocks as we're saying it is to the Kalgoorlie region, yes, there's probably going to be gold there somewhere too. We're not specifically looking for it. There'll be platinum somewhere there. But you know, there'll be a lot of other things there. But at the moment, we're looking for nickel. We have also started to drill a couple of lithium and rare earth prospects, and we'll explain why they're interesting. We've also done some moving loop to the northern part of the tenements, and we've probably got some of our best moving loop results with the highest semen numbers that we've seen on the moving loop. So we're looking forward to getting up there with the drilling rig eventually as well. So we've got lots of, we're a drill-rich, an exploration-rich environment. So we do go through and define the targets first, and then we get the drill rigs out. And as you can see in that map, there's a lot of targets. That's in what I'll probably call the home block. That's what Luke's been working on for the last 6 years. But we have added to that home block very significantly. I'll point to there's an anomaly to the top left, which we've identified there as carbonatite prospect, rare earth, lithium. When I first started with Luke, I looked at that and said, that looks like Mount Weld. I used to work at Mount Weld. Oddly, Anaconda Nickel owned 100% of Mount Weld for a very brief period back in 2000, and Fergus and I both worked on it, and I said, that looks like a carbonatite. We do have a bit more on it, but if it walks like a duck and quacks like a duck, it's probably a duck, and we're pretty sure that's a carbonatite. And we're looking into that. We've got an EIS funding for it to look at the rare earths, and carbonatites have many other things too, apart from the rare earths. So, sorry, should just go back there. The core up the top there is core from one of our nickel drilling programs, and it's showing nickel in there, which is the green bit through there too. So we are getting nickel, mainly disseminated. We're still looking for the massive sulfides. So this is a busy slide. It's showing the various nickel hits that we've had. Some of them are reasonable, but most of them are at that sort of lower level. Now, it's hard to say. I mean, if you look at Julimar, they're reporting by nickel equivalents at the moment at 0.55%. So what is a suitable nickel grade for a mine to start? And I think the nickel world is starting to realise it's going to need to move towards larger tonnage, lower grade nickel projects. That does not mean we're looking for higher grades, and there's a couple out there. London Metals is reporting some good grades as it goes through, but we are getting regularly nickel sulfides throughout the area. The job of the geologist and Luke is to actually see where they are concentrating. I listened to London yesterday. They talked about where they're getting their concentrations is at the concentration between the komatiite flows and the basement. We have proven in this area that we have komatiite flows. We also have gossans, and gossans are a very important part of the nickel story. It was a gossan that first helped discover Camboldia. There are gossans at Forrestania. At the moment, we've identified 3 gossans, and we have not, by any stretch of the imagination, walked across all of the land that we have. So the fact that we've got gossans, we're fertile for nickel sulfides. We do expect to ultimately start getting that concentration. And a komatiite flow, Mount Keith up in Leinster, that's been operating for 35, 40 years at a grade of about 0.6%. If we can get to 0.5, 0.6% through the komatiites, you know what, there's an operation there. Alternatively, of course, we look for the massive sulfides and get a higher grade, 2%, 3%, they're nice. But there is nickel sulfides in the area. So I did mention that up to the north we've got 34 EM conductor plates that have got some really interesting results on them too. So we're looking forward to moving up there to get onto the drill rig up there. So here we've got why are we looking at lithium? Everyone's looking at lithium. How long does that give me? 2 minutes, okay. There's a series of soil samples in the map on the right. You can see that red line is at 0.6 or 60 ppm. 60 ppm were the soil samples that allowed Wesfarmers to uncover Earl Grey to the south of us. So That's a reasonably compelling soil sample group over, I think it's 3 kilometres. So we're currently drilling for lithium in that region. So the 12-hole RC drilling program has commenced with 5 holes completed. So there's a lot of results coming through for lithium shortly. And this is the Mount Weld lookalike. So you can see in this magnetic aerial image there in the black and white, the NIMY carbonatite is in the inset on the right. The Mount Weld carbonatite is the main one there. I think there are compelling similarities. We can all see those, including the fact that there's a dike through both of them as well. So we're quite excited about this. We've got an EIS grant for it, and that will be drilling in June. And I'm just running through everything very quickly. The long and winding road, I'm just about done. I was talking to our PR girl. I said, what do you want me to say about this? And I am just reminded, De Grey, there was an article by Dry Blower, and he wrote about the long and winding road to discovery, actually. And it was all about De Grey and where we started in 2002. We went through gold and iron ore and base metals and Argentina and then back to gold, and we eventually get the discovery. So I think that's sort of saying something like that. So I think that's probably the story. We don't need to look at the board, etc. So I think that's fine. We're in the booth tomorrow if anyone wants to come and ask us and talk to us. Okay.